The same boy is following Gina. And Gina looks at his face and says, "You're a player of the baseball team, right? Why are you following me?" And then this boy says, "I told you that we will meet very soon." Hearing this, she starts to run from there, and that boy also runs after her. On the other side, Young starts saying, "Why did you let her go alone? Don't you know that a lot of things are happening with her these days?" Hearing this, Lee is shocked, and then Young shouts, "You are her boyfriend. Don't you know anything?" Just then, Gina calls Young, and before she could tell him anything, the call gets cut. And then Young says, "You are going towards her house, and I am going towards the training center." They both leave to find her. On the other side, the same boy tells Gina, "I have liked you for a long time, and that day when you broke up with Young, I decided that I will keep you mine. But I don't know from where that Lee came suddenly as your boyfriend." He adds, "And that day when you kissed him in front of me, which made me very angry. Now, I will keep you as my girlfriend." As he is saying these things, Lee reaches there, and as soon as the boy goes to lead, Gina attacks him from behind, but he still runs away from there. On the way, the same boy collides with Young. Young says, "What are you doing here at this time?" And then he sees that there are many things of Gina in his bag. Seeing this, he understands that this is the same boy who had been keeping an eye on Gino. And then Young beats him and makes him fall. Soon after, they get him arrested by the police. She says thank you to Young. And then Young says to Lee, "You are her boyfriend, so take care of her." Saying this, he leaves. And then Lee stands there very sad. And then Gina says, "Why are you making such a face?" And then Lee says, "I could not protect you." Gina says, "Because of you I am standing here safe, otherwise I don't know what would have happened to me." And then he says, "After today, I will go to drop you to your house every day." Hearing this, Gina starts laughing and says, "Okay, fine, now let's go." And then he drops her home. There Gina tells him today, "My parents are not at home, so I am alone." He says, "If you are alone, you will not be scared." And then she says, "Okay, you stay with me tonight," on which he also agrees and goes to her house. Here both of them are sitting and eating. And then Lee is staring at Gina. And then Gina says, "I know that I am beautiful, but you should not look at me like this." And then he says, "Yes, you are beautiful, but right now I am looking at something else." Saying this, he cleans her face. And then Gina starts complaining, "Why did you remove it from there? I had intentionally put it there so that I could eat it tomorrow." Hearing this, he starts laughing. After some time, both of them fall asleep sitting with each other. Next day, Gina's friends are asking her about yesterday's incident. And then Gina says, "You should not need to get tensed because he has been arrested now." Soon after, Young comes there and she goes to him and thanks him for yesterday. Young says, "There is no need to thank me, but you can give me a gift in return." Gina says, "What kind of gift should I give you to become my boyfriend again?" Young says, "No, I want to become your friend." Soon after, all these people are sitting together there. Minji tells them, "We all should go on vacation to refresh our mood." Everyone agrees to this. And then Young comes there and says, "I will also go on vacation with you people." Hearing this, Lee starts looking at him. Later on, they reach Minji's old house, and as soon as they arrive, they start playing games and enjoying themselves. And then Gina comes to Lee and says, "From where did you get this camera?" And then he says, "It was lying in the broadcasting room, so I brought it so that I can record some of our memories." And then Young also comes there and says, "You can shoot me also," but Lee ignores him and goes from there. Soon after, Lee is cooking food in the kitchen. And then Hannah comes and starts helping him. But then Gina also comes there. Soon after, they start eating, and Hannah asks Lee to serve food to her also. But then Young says, "Why would someone else's boyfriend serve you food?" And then he serves her food. Soon after, all these people start the game again, where one person will ask some question in the ear of the other person, and the other person has to answer by pointing out to whom the question is related. If anyone sitting there wants to know the question, then first of all, he has to get beaten by all of them, and then he will know the question. After this, these people start the game, and first of all, Minji asks Chang, "If you want to go on a date, then with whom you would like to go?" And then Chang points out to Minji. Both of them become very happy. Next, Chang asks something to Gina, and then she points out to Young. Lee says, "I want to know this question," and then everyone beats him. Soon after, Chang tells him, "I had asked, Who is it that eats food in the kitchen at night? Chang starts laughing. Soon after, Gina is pointing out to Young again and again, and Lee is also trying to know every question and gets beaten by all of them a lot. And then, Young asks a question to Hannah, and Hannah points out Lee. And then Gina says, I want to know the question. And then, all the people beat her. And then Young tells her I asked Hannah whom she is most interested in. Hearing this, she does not like it at all. After that, she is thinking about the same thing while sitting there. And then, she heard the sound of something. So she starts looking outside, but just then, someone comes there, and she gets scared, but he is Lee. Soon after, they both go out and sit at a place where Gina starts singing and Lee is recording it, and says both your voice and you are very beautiful. Soon after, both of them start kissing, but suddenly, they get embarrassed and stop. Here Hannah is standing and watching everything. And then, she comes home in anger. And then Young says, what happened to you suddenly? In anger, Hannah tells him both of them are in a contract relationship, but don't know why everything is becoming real. Hearing this, he is completely shocked and at the same time very happy too. In the next scene, all the people are leaving from there. And then Minji says, what will these things do here? Everyone should take things of their choice. But Gina is taking all the things. And then Hannah says, you want everything and this is the thing I don't like. Hearing this, Gina says, what are you saying? I was joking. Whatever you want, take from there, she adds. But Hannah leaves from there angrily. At outside, Young tells Hannah, I have come to know that you like Lee, but you have to wait for the right time like I am doing. Soon after, Gina comes to the training center and is trying to talk to Hannah, but Hannah does not reply to her. And then the manager comes there and starts telling everyone, you people have to invest some money because our agency is going through a difficult time. And then Gina says there was nothing in the contract that we have to deposit money. And then the manager says, yes, you are right, but the money will be deposited only by the person whose progress is very low like Hannah. And then the manager asks Hannah to deposit 10 million rupees. And then Gina says, why should she give all the money? You should look at everyone with the same eyes. On which the manager says, we are complimenting you too much then, you have started talking too much. And then Gina says, there is no need for us to stay here. She holds Hannah's hand, but Hannah does not support her and says if you want to go then go, but I want to stay here. On hearing this, Gina leaves the agency alone. Soon after, she remembers Hannah and her own memories and starts thinking, I don't know how you changed so much suddenly. Soon after, she comes to Lee and tells him all these things and says, is it my fault in this? But Lee says, no, it is not your fault, you did the right thing, and anyway, you do not need to work in that agency. And then he shows her the video and says, if I upload it on social media, then you will be very famous. And then Gina says, do it really go viral? Lee says yes, and both start smiling. In the next scene, Gina comes to meet her brother-in-law and sister, and then she also tells them about her contract relationship. She says, now I have started liking that boy very much, and I will confess my feelings to him soon. Knowing this, her sister becomes very happy. Meanwhile, the manager tells Hannah, you take back all your money, but bring Gina back here because she was the face of our team, and without her, we are nothing. The manager adds, she is gone because of you, so you should take her there again. But Hannah says, I have deleted her number, and now both of us are not friends. Meanwhile, both of them are sitting together, and then Lee is surprised to see something. The video has gone viral and you have become very popular. And then she says, this credit goes to you. And then the pen falls from Lee's hand, and he bends down to pick it up. And then Gina also bends down, and while picking up the pen, she catches Lee's hand. Seeing this, he gets very shy and starts getting nervous. Seeing this, Gina says, it is okay, you write with the right hand. She tries to free her hand, but he says, no, I am fine like this. Seeing Lee's reaction, Gina starts laughing. On the other side, a romantic comedy is going on between these two. And then Chang says today was the match of Young. And then both of them start watching his interview, in which he says the girl whom I like should support me. And then Chang asks Minji for a charger, but she refuses. And then he starts searching for the charger to charge his phone in Lee's bag. And then he finds the contract of both of them instead of the charger. Both of them are laughing at this. Hannah also sees all this. Later on, Lee goes to Young and asks, why did you say all this in the interview? And then Young says, it means you took the interview. And the game is not over yet, he adds. And saying this, he leaves from there. And then Hannah also sees that on social media, Gina's video has gone viral. And seeing this, she does not like it. And then Young comes there and asks Hannah about Gina. And then Hannah says, everyone is asking about her. I do not know where she is. Soon after, Hannah comes to Lee and expresses her feelings. I like you. But if you don't want, then we can come into a contract relationship. After this, you will start liking him gradually, she says. But Lee says, I only like Gina, not anyone else. Hearing this, Hannah angrily says, what is there in her that everyone wants to like her? And then Gina also appears there and says, what are you both talking about? Hannah says, you can't see that we both are talking, so please go from here. But Gina holds Lee's hand and while leaving says, he is my boyfriend. And then she takes him from there. Seeing this, Hannah gets very angry. Later on, everyone in the school had come to know that there is a contract relationship between Lee and Gina. Knowing this, Lee is running towards Gina, but Hannah stops him on the way and says after all this, Gina is very angry with you and does not want to meet with you. Soon after, Lee is sitting there and watching Gina from a distance. Meanwhile, Gina is waiting for Lee because she needed support. He is also getting very bad comments, while on the other side, the match of Young is going on. But as he comes to know in the news that everyone is criticizing Gina, he runs towards Gina. While on the other side, Gina comes to know that someone had kept her contract photo in this room, and her full doubt goes towards Hannah. So she goes to her and says, you have done all this right. Hannah also accepts this and says, yes, because I want to snatch everything from you. And then Gina says, what are you saying? We are best friends. But Hannah laughs and says, I have been hating you since the beginning. Since you came to the training center, everyone's focus on you. She adds, whatever I need, you snatch it out from me. And now I want to snatch everything out of you. After hearing this, she says, what are you saying? And then everyone hears the voice of Lee who is saying in the mic, yes, there was a contract relationship between Gina and me. And now I also do not want to stay in this contract relationship because I have been considering it really from the beginning. And now I have to convert it into a real relationship. And then he confesses his feelings, which makes all the students very happy. He also says you guys should support my love. And then she tells Hannah no matter how much someone hates me, but one person who loves me is enough for me. She leaves from there. And then the teacher comes to the broadcasting room and takes him out to punish him. Soon after, she sees that Lee had put another note on the notice on which it is written. It is true that there was a contract relationship, but for me it was always real. Seeing all this, Gina also says everything was real for her too. Now in a few days, everything became normal, and everyone forgot everything and they are enjoying. Meanwhile, Young's leader asks him, did you get the thing for which you had left that day? And then Young remembers the day when he came running to Gina, but he sees that she is looking at Lee's note. And then he starts thinking, maybe I am late again. Now, there is no one else in her heart except Lee. Thinking all this, he leaves from there without saying anything. Later on, Gina has come to meet Hannah and says, why are you not coming to school for so long? She says, I am angry with you, but still we can forget everything and start afresh. On which Hannah says, okay, I am ready to forget everything, and we will remain friends like before, and I will also go back to school. But I have a condition. So Gina asks, what kind of condition? Hannah says, after this contract relationship, you will not date Lee, because I like him. Hearing this, Gina says nothing and leaves from there. Meanwhile, Lee is thinking that after this contract relationship is over, how will he propose to Gina? Thinking this, he is going crazy. Meanwhile, Gina is remembering the words of Hannah. And then she gets a good night message from Lee, and she gets very upset. Later day, we come to know that today is the last day of the contract between these two. So Gina says today, we will do everything that we have not done. Soon after, both of them do many things one by one and enjoy a lot. Meanwhile, romance between these two is also going on. Just then, Hannah comes there and asks about Gina and Lee. And then, these people say we don't know where they are. And then she comes to Young and says, you gave up so soon, don't you want to live with Gina now? He says, now, there is only Lee in her heart. There is nothing for me in her heart, now you also forget Lee. Saying this, he leaves from there. Meanwhile, both of them come to a place, and Lee is waiting because after that, their contract will end and he will propose to Gina. After, he confesses his feelings to her. But Gina says, "Thanks for staying with me for so many days." Hearing this, he finds it very strange and says, "What are you saying?" But Gina gets up and starts to leave. But Lee stops her and says, "What happened to you suddenly? We both like each other." But she doesn't say anything to him and left from there. Lee also gets very upset here. Soon after, both of them stay alone and don't talk to each other. Soon after, Young says to Gina, "How did all this happen suddenly between you two?" And then she says, "We have broken up." And she starts crying. And then Young says, "You didn't cry this much even after our breakup, but I know that now you have nothing for me in your heart." He adds, "But we can always stay as friends. If you like Lee so much, then don't take your love away for someone else." On the other hand, Lee tells all this to his father. And then, his father says she must have some problem with it. So she said something like this, "But you try again once." Hearing all this, Lee decides that he will propose to Gina once again. Meanwhile, Gina comes to meet Hannah and says, "I was crazy to listen to you. You have changed the definition of friendship, and I cannot leave my true love for a friend." Soon after, both of them run towards each other and come face to face. Soon after, they confess their feelings to each other, hug, and then leave from there holding each other's hand. Later on, Hannah is also leaving the school, which makes Minji feel very sad because one of her best friends is leaving her. Later scene, Lee calls Gina at Tars and gives her a new contract and asks her, "Will you be my girlfriend and stay with me for a lifetime?" And then she says, "Okay." And then he says, "You sign it." Gina kisses on the contract and says, "This is how the contract is signed. You will also sign it." But he says, "I sign, but somewhere else." He kisses her, and then he says, "From now on, I am your boyfriend." She says, "I am also your girlfriend." She kisses him, and with this, our sweet drama ends here. How would you like this drama? And which was your favorite character? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for watching more dramas like this. This is Jennifer, and thank you so much for watching with me till the very end.